Hey, this is a walkthrough video of the interior of my 1970 Mach 1 Mustang. Similar to the outside, I wanted to keep subtle with all the upgrades I made and keep its relatively stock appearance. Again, this car came with deluxe white interior from the factory. And before I started installing any components, I first used a kit from Quiet Ride Solutions that included Dynamat and a sound and heat barrier insulation that I installed throughout the car. Keeps it much cooler and quieter, and a lot less rattles than you have with a typical restoration. But the complete interior of the vehicle was restored. I'll start with the seats and go through the seats here. So the seat frames are original 1970, and then the foam and upholstery was replaced. The foam and upholstery came from a company called TMI out in California, and they had a little bit more side bolstering, which I liked, but kept the original Mach 1 look of the interior. So you'll see the sides have a little bit more side bolstering, and the seat bottoms, just a little bit more padding to take those turns. So I was really happy overall with how those turned out and look mostly original, but then has a little bit more support like a modern car. So moving to the back seat of the car, you'll see that the rear seat was completely refinished and reupholstered, new seat belts. The quarter panels, those panels are original, but they were refurbished and repainted. Has new sail panels with the quarter lights that are working, a new headliner, and then a new package tray as well. And tucked under here are two JBL speakers and also a JBL 8-inch subwoofer and a amplifier, just to give a little bit better sound quality. And here you'll see just the finishing details of the quarter panel. Try to keep all of this as clean as possible. So another thing, subtle upgrade, was the carpet. So this uses a what's called a cut pile carpet as opposed to the original loop style carpet. So this is more like carpet you'll see in a modern car. I thought it was just kind of a nice subtle upgrade. Moving on to the door panels. The door panels were replaced. The wood trim, light, and the lower chrome strip are all original pieces though. Behind the speaker, I have another JBL speaker for better sound, and then you'll see in place of the window crank, I have power windows. It's another subtle detail, both on the driver and passenger side, putting those switches in place of the cranks. And those work really well. So shifting down to the footwell, I wanted to point out the pedal upgrade on the car. These pedals are sourced again from an 0304 Cobra. I find this is one area that's overlooked on resto-modded Mustangs, is they usually keep the original pedals, which are very large, very clunky, and have really long throws to the clutch especially. So this enables a lot quicker shifting and a lot easier foot maneuverability between the pedals. So as I jump inside here, next thing I'll point out is the steering wheel. This is an original 1970 steering wheel that I sent to a company in Florida to refinish. And the wheel started as a non-cracked, very nice donor wheel. It was in very good shape, and they completely refinished the trim. And then we have a replacement center section here, along with a replacement rim blow switch, and the horn works, and everything works as it should on here. Next to point out are the gauges. So the gauges are from a company called New Vintage USA, and I liked the style of these as they fit inside the original cluster. Again, wanted to keep the original look of the car, but then have upgraded gauges. So these are fully electronic. They have digital displays for the trip and some other recordings you can do. Like you can record your 0 to 60 time, quarter mile time, and that kind of stuff, which is cool. And then the clock is an original 1970 clock with the original mechanism driving it. It runs a little bit on the fast side, but still cool that it works. So the bezel on the passenger side that houses the clock, as well as the bezel on the driver's side that houses the gauges, these were original pieces in original wood veneer, but they were completely refinished and repainted. The upper dash was replaced as well. The lower dash is sourced from another car. It came from a car that included AC original from the factory, as this car in particular did not. So this has the cutouts on the lower dash section for the AC vents. And then the lower side, you'll see the controls. These are original controls, and then the faceplate from a car that came with AC. And these all run a vintage air unit that's tucked behind the dash, so fully electronic operation from those original controls. And right above it, the stereo is from Retro Sound. This stereo is made to look like it's an original, but also features items like Bluetooth connectability, so you can play songs from your phone. Over in place of the lighter, I have a USB outlet so you can charge your phone. It has an auxiliary input as well, and this connects to the Retro Sound stereo. And then just beneath that, you'll notice the OBD2 connector. So the last item I'll point out is the center console. This had to be modified to utilize the TR6060 Tremec 6-speed transmission. So a little bit of tunnel work had to be done beneath the center console. But you'll notice where the shifter comes out is a little more rearward than it was originally on the car. So the shifter came out in this front section here originally, but with the TR6060, it's a little bit more rearward. And this works out pretty well. As you'll see, my arm just naturally falls into this position. You don't have to reach forward as they did on these older cars to shift. But I wanted to keep it as original looking as possible with that wood veneer finish. So that's everything for the interior walkthrough. Let me know if you have any questions.